Hello, 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 everyone. Ooh, my music is kind of loud. It's great, but it's kind of loud. Hi.
Yeah, frightening
Welcome.
yourself with your own voice.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Welcome to another segment of our live stream. I am your co-host Kaya. Devrel here at Chef Progress or Progress Chef. How does that work? Progress Chef.
yeah,
Chef Progress.
yeah,
Yeah, Progress Chef.
yeah.
Sweet. And I am joined here with my co-host Dan, Senior Devrel here at Progress Chef as well. Today we're going
He
to be
was
talking
currently being
about
blinded by his key light.
ah,
Yeah, I'm
what's
being blinded
uh,
by it.
key light? What's the difference between a key light and a ring light? Because I haven't got a ring light that I'm being
Uh,
blinded by right now.
it is a square rather than a ring.
Oh, oh, okay, cool. I
Yeah.
wish I was thinking it was in the shape of a key. But
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah,
that would be
yeah.
cool. Well, thank you all for joining today. Today we're going to be talking about Chef Infra compliance fees. This is a new concept for me, so I'm interested in learning more. So, let's go with pre-flight checks first. Follow us on Twitter if you are wrong. We're at Chef on Twitter. Just you go get updates, maybe some um, insider knowledge that you don't want to miss. Um, Pretty much updates. If you don't follow Chef on Twitter, if you just follow Dan and I on Twitter, Dan's at Dan Webb. What do you post on Twitter, Dan? Like, are
So the
you?
last thread I posted was actually about compliance phase. So
Oh,
there's a nice demo about that. So if you are viewing that and you want to take on a compliance phase, I've done it there as well.
sweet.
Let me check the last thing I ranted about. What was it?
Brexit. Let me guess.
That's perfect
That you?
timing. No, it wasn't Brexit, but my little kid has just burst through the door.
Oh wow.
The
Don't you love
door
it when
was
that
shut,
happens?
but no, he needs to show me his
He's
new
like,
clothes.
he's like, Daddy,
Good.
come see
That's exactly
this.
what
I don't
happened.
care. I don't care what you're doing. That's so cute.
Bye.
Well, definitely follow Dan and learn more about DevOps concepts, chef concepts, and Brexit. And
Yeah.
follow me. I just retweet chef stuff currently, but I actually am thinking about because we did the DevRailCon and I actually saw some pretty cool things that I think that you possibly implemented too, Dan. But I'm gonna start doing like some some DevOps concepts and 10 tweets. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Some of those types of deals. So that's kind of I've been thinking about where I'm gonna go with my account, and so far I've just been doing like retweeting chef stuff. But yeah, I think just explaining some concepts and some tweets. Um, that'll be nice. So tune in for that. If you're not on community Slack, what are you doing? Like basically community Slack, you can ask all the questions, get all the answers. Semi like we do a decent job at responding.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
we aren't on, there's someone else in the community that knows. So like that's where you go if you want like a right now answer, or at least like something that's a lot quicker than say a discourse, which is like more forum style, which still check that out because that's more long form. You can
Yeah.
get your longer form questions answered. Also, you can learn about releases, and we have community meeting updates that we post on discourse as well from our community meeting that takes place on community Slack and the
Like,
community meeting
yeah.
channel.
Yeah. It's kind of like this thing happened. Go here and say it. Like
Right.
the my favorite bit is when like the community has released a bunch of cookbooks in the week. So there's usually like a sync update, which is our open source
Mhm.
partner, and sous chefs who do all the cookbook stuff. If we've had a load of contributors contribute to sous chef cookbooks in the week. That list is just huge. It's just like we've done some releases, and it's just insane. Yeah, it's kind of like a digest of a week, and I'm like, what's going on? This is mad. For some reason, your internet connection has gone bad today. Oh,
Yeah,
it
I
went
thought you
red then.
froze, but maybe it was my connection. Can you hear me now? Am I
Yeah,
good?
I mean, I can hear you. That was weird.
It was. It was. It just went. It froze for a second.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
I'll
well we're
pretend it
back.
never happens. Yeah, we'll
Right,
pretend it
right,
never
right.
happened.
We're back. So also our doc site, you go there to learn all things chef. If you have any, any little things that you have questions about, if you can't, or go there first. Find them in the docs. If you can't find it in the docs, then ask. You know. And so, Dan, are we playing our game today, or are
I
we?
think we might make it a short one.
Oh, okay.
Nice,
Cool.
nice,
Let's do it.
nice short one. We've only got
So
one
let's.
person on the stream, so I think we'll just jump right into the content.
Okay.
If anyone does jump onto the stream near the end, and I've talked about compliance phase and stuff, um, then we will maybe change our tact. But I think we'll just jump into compliance phase.
Let's jump in.
So I'm just gonna share my cookbook. So I'm using VS Code obviously because that's what I do. And we'll talk about how we move from compliance, the audit cookbook to compliance phase in a bit. And in fact, before I do that, I'm going to explain what compliance phase is. So, back up a second.
Okay.
So, compliance phase is an additional phase of the chef client. So the Infra client run. Historically, the Infra client run has been two phases, and like the reporter at the end. If we drop off the reporter, we've got the compile and converge phase. Now we've now got a new phase, which is called the compliance phase. As you might expect, we are talking about the compliance of things we're checking in our cookbook. And as we're a chef, we like to use our own tools, so we're using InSpec at that point. So what we do is we use chef client for the first part of the run, and we do all the normal templating stuff. And then when we get to compliance phase, we use Infra to the InSpec. We use Infra to call InSpec, and then that allows us to test things we've made with our cookbooks, which is nice. So let's say we put a template on disk and an environment variable needed to be read. We can then you inspect the system locally because we're on the node already, and make sure that we can go and do that template has been put on disk correctly and has got all the correct content, which is super nice because it used to be two different things. So you maybe run your infra clients every hour, every half hour, like something like that, and then you would run InSpec as a separate tool, and then you would go off and you would do compliance scans. Now there's no need to do that anymore. You can still do that, but with compliance phase, it's all bundled into one. And moving away from audit cookbook means we can just bundle everything together, which is super cool. So that's just me. Let's show how it looks in practice.
Okay.
So it's we need the audit reporter and the audit fetcher. And in fact, all I really need is the audit reporter. So where are we going to report to? If we're using Test Kitchen, this needs to be set to CLI because we haven't probably needs to be set to CLI, and you probably want to set to CLI. CLI means report it to the local system, and I put it to the command line. Chef Automate says, hey, InSpec compliance phase, please report to Chef Automate server. And there's a bunch of extra options. I'll link to the docs in a bit, but there's a few sort of permutations of this option. I'm going with Chef Automate because I'm running Chef Automate locally, and we'll see that again in a second.
Okay.
And Fetcher, if we want to fetch profiles from somewhere, we use Chef Automate. I'm going to use Chef Automate here to fetch profiles from Automate. In fact, I don't even think I need this, so let's get rid of this for the demo because that's basically all you need. You'll notice if you're using Audit Cookbook before that you would need to turn Audit Phase on. it's on by default. I cannot remember when it turned on by default, but nicely enough, let me just double check. Yeah, no, it was on by default then. So it's, you didn't have to worry about that, which is cool. You needed to used to wear it. You have to use. My words will come out eventually. You used to have to worry about that. So that's quite like the nice thing about 17 plus is these things are enabled by default. Right, Dan, that's great. Whatever. But what about your compliance stuff? Go on. I heard an intake of breath.
Uh, well, yeah, I just got a question.
Yeah, go for it.
So, did you enable compliance phase in your policy files?
No, no. So the docs are slightly out of date.
Okay.
The default behavior changed in 17 dot something. So I'm running 17.7.
Hmm.
Just go and check change log. Basically, I just run my I run shift infra change log. Actually, release notes. There we go. I might bring 17.7, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm running 17.7 or 17.5. Definitely 17.5. It was defaulted to on.
Oh, okay. That makes
So
sense.
that's nice. The docs are written for 17.0, which I don't think it was on by default. It's just on by
Gotcha.
default now because, like, why would you not want it on? If
Right.
you
So you know.
if you have it on and you have no compliance stuff, then it doesn't do anything. It's just whatever. You can turn it off, I believe.
Makes sense.
I've never tried to turn it off because why would I? I'm actually
Right.
like really
Right.
enjoying compliance phase, so maybe we'll see if that works later on.
Okay. Cool.
So we've got our recipes here. Um, so recipes default, and then I've got them to call extra things. One of them is the compliance phase, and in my compliance phase, I include a profile called Chef Pie. Um, and this is very, very similar to include cookbook, so include recipe, sorry. So you'll see include recipe here, and when you're using include recipe, the first bit is the cookbook name and then the recipe name. Same thing for include profile. You make it a tiny bit bigger. So you include profile here, and you've got the cookbook name here, so you can include extra cookbooks, and then say I want the compliance. I want the profile A, B, or C from this cookbook. So cookbook name here, and then profile name here. Great. Where do the compliance compliance profiles live is a folder called compliance, and you'll end up with, let me just get rid of all of these, compliance inputs, waivers, so compliance profiles and waivers. So inputs live in inputs, waivers live in waivers, and profiles live in profiles, which is lovely and helpful and super straightforward. So thank you for whoever named those. We could have gone for more chefy things, but this is Inspect Land. So we've got controls, our normal Inspect controls, and I literally just picked this up from my test integration default folder, which is my test folder for Test Kitchen, and I picked up my pie profile and I dumped it in this folder. That's it. It's the same thing. And as a result, because it's the same format, and Test Kitchen knows how to run inspect profiles and compliance phases and knows how to run compliance profiles, they can both run them separately. So if you were still doing your Test Kitchen stuff and you wanted to, let's say, just run Kitchen Verify separately, you can have Test Kitchen do that. I'll show you how to do that down here. You just need to run your verifier. Just need to tell your verifier where the tests are. This is obviously the default place, but yeah, well, I'm now using compliance profiles. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold here. Compliance profiles pi. So that's where my inspect tests live. Load them in from there, please. And then, as I mentioned earlier on, when I'm using Test Kitchen, I want to run the CLI audit reporter, so it doesn't report back to Automate because This is an ephemeral node. I don't really care if it's ever out of spec. Um, I'm in the middle of testing, so if there's a test that fails, I kind of expect it to fail, so that's okay. So I set this to CLI and it only reports locally.
Okay.
So I've got the kitchen YAML there. If I just do kitchen list, that will show me my list of kitchens, or my instances, as I like to. We've got an Ubuntu 2004 box here, using Chef Infra with a inspect verifier, and I have already converged it a minute ago. So if I just do kitchen converge, I'm just going to use KC because I'm lazy. KC is my alias for kitchen converge, and we'll see how this all ties together. I'm going to let it run through and um, do its thing a second. 3, 2, 1. And because I'm using policy files and test kitchen modern version 3, we'll see it always update the policy file every time I'm running, which is nice actually, because if you're in the middle of development, you want to have the latest policy file. Lock file there, so you'll see installing Chef Pi locally. We're using line and Chef Updated cookbook. Not a problem, it's all good. And then the new thing you'll see, so we're synchronizing cookbooks, thumbs up. Installing cookbook gem dependencies. If we had a gem dependencies, it would do it there. Then it compile the cookbooks. Then it does all of these, which are new. This is new, and it's kind of interesting. So it loads all this stuff in. It doesn't actually use it yet, so you have to go and tell it to include it. But it loads the profiles, the inputs, and the waivers in, which is really cool. So if you've got Chef Pi modules, so I have my inputs and my waivers there. They're all loaded in now, and that is kind of the start of the compliance phase. A bunch of things happen. Some of my modules don't get disabled because of reasons that I've yet to be able to look at. And my compliance report. So infra phase finished here. I will see no resources updated. Good, because I fixed this earlier on. And then I've got two controls here. The HTTP control and the kernel modules control. And as you see, like if you're running kitchen verify, this will look pretty similar. It's not the same, but it's very similar. So this is a description of the control, profile. This is the profile. This is the profile description basically here.
Okay.
And then we've got two. Now we have two controls here. Words will come out of my mouth in some order at the point, but yeah. And then we've got our kernel modules here, which is cool. And that's it. That's basically us done there. And we can also run kitchen verify if we want, and we'll get a different output, which will not use compliance phase. It'll just use inspect by itself. TikTok. So we'll see here we've loaded the Pi profile, which I expected earlier on, and we'll see it looks really similar. The ticks and the crosses are not quite the same. So you've got pluses and minuses instead of ticks and crosses, but that works really nicely, I think. So one was just part of the converge phase, the compliance phase is part of the converge phase now. If you're talking about test kitchen land, and I can still run the same tests in the verify phase, which is pretty sweet. I think I'm just going to destroy that now because I don't need it anymore. Do you check Slack, see if we've got any questions?
Yes. Let's see. I don't see any on Slack.
There we go.
Nope.
Yeah. So, actually, I might have not
So
mentioned.
this means you've explained this like perfectly because there are no
Maybe,
questions.
maybe. I doubt that very much. But anyone in the comments, where we post this later on, please ask away if anything doesn't make sense. Um, feel free to ask in the comments later on. So good as well, and we will get back to you. We have now got into a habit of actually logging into our YouTube accounts on a regular basis, which is nice. Some lovely community interaction. We've had some really helpful feedback in the last couple of months. Some people were wanted to get to the content a bit easier. We were like, we like to do our games, our chit chat, that kind of stuff. And then we
Right.
want the content, so we now put some timestamps in as well. So hopefully that helps people get to our content a bit quicker.
Yes, yes, that does make a difference. Like we got to come, we got some
Yeah,
feedback, but we like having fun on our streams. Don't get us
yeah,
wrong, but it's just yeah, we understand. We understand.
yeah. I really appreciate the feedback. Like
Yeah.
if you got to a point where you're like, well, I just want to see the compliance phase, well, skip the first minute or something like that, and I'll figure that out in a bit. But yeah, it's really nice. Um, so when I mentioned we load in all the profiles, so that first bit is it just loads in all the profiles. To actually enable those profiles and get compliance phase to use them, we need to include them. Otherwise, they just get loaded and then nothing happens. And you're like, well, I've got this thing for you, but I won't use it until you tell me to. So that's the magic there.
Oh, okay. Wait. Pause. Where is that?
There, it's
What?
just another part of a recipe. So if I'm in recipes,
Uh-huh.
let's fold everything else down a second. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Make sure. So the secret source, there are two things really.
Mhm.
So attributes default, you want to set your reporter to wherever you want to set the reporter to. And then compliance phase, I've just called it compliance phase. It could be called default or whatever, it doesn't really matter. I then do include profile
Profile.
to include that
Okay.
profile.
Okay.
Because this cookbook has the compliance, so because the compliance folder exists in the same cookbook, it just loads up content by default, which is nice.
So then, okay. Now, would it work, or how would it work if there was not a compliance directory?
It just would ignore it completely.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
you would still have those three headings, but it would just not load them in. So let me just prove. Oh, I wish I hadn't. Destroyed that machine now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because of course someone was going to ask a question that's helpful.
Right.
So if you don't do it, you won't load the profile in, and that include profile should break because you haven't got the designated directory structure. So it's a bit like trying to include a template and you haven't got a template folder, for example.
Got
So
you.
we've
Got
got
you.
what we've got here. I would normally have a template folder or something, but I haven't got a template folder. So templates live in the templates folder, resources live in the resources folder. So if you're going to use one of those two things, they need to be named like that. So the compliance space is no different there.
Okay.
Big difference really that you might see is there's more than a single like directory hierarchy. So it needs to be pretend it's this compliance space still or
Right.
compliance. It needs to be under profiles.
Profile.
So
Okay.
compliance
Okay.
profiles and then your profile name. So you could have like profile 2, profile 2, profile 3, profile 4.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. So now, okay, so takeaways. So you have to include the profile and whatever your default. What is that? This is your
So
default.
that's just a recipe. Like yes,
Okay, your
is
default. Okay,
focus on
your
a recipe.
recipe.
So
All right.
if you were talking like Chef Infra client language, what you would see there normally is an include recipe. It's very, very similar to include recipe.
Okay.
An include recipe
Okay.
says go to this cookbook, in this case Chef Pie, and get me the recipe called underscore system.
Yep. All right. And
I
you
call it
don't
underscore
have.
system underscore compliance phase because I don't want those used directly. I just want this one used directly. and I'll sort out the plumbing.
Okay, okay, and then it has to be under the a compliance directory and profiles. And
Yeah.
also you don't have to enable compliance phase anymore.
No,
It
let me just
comes
see what happened here.
enabled by default.
Lovely. So I had two things happened here. My inputs never got loaded in because you're in a folder.
Okay.
Let me just see where it is. Ah, inputs. Yeah, it's fine. Get rid of that. Second. That's fine.
Okay.
Still giggling about the little kiddie ram raiding the door earlier on. Just
Yeah,
broke the door
right.
down, came right in.
Right. Like, your world revolves around me. Don't act like it doesn't.
Yeah. Dad, I've got this thing. What optimizations? Default. I've basically full on broke this, but I'm trying to like break it a bit more and then unbreak it. So bear with me a second whilst I unpick the breaking. I'll wait for Test Kitchen to do its thing. So actually, let's scroll back up here. So because we have renamed our compliance folder, we don't load that profile in because it doesn't exist anymore. So simple as that, really. Like if we rename this back to compliance, it should now reappear, which is cool.
Sweet.
And if I do that, that's cool. So yeah,
Okay.
if anyone wants to know the difference between compliance, so the audit book and compliance phase, asking the questions, and we'll maybe do a follow-up stream about that, because there's some interesting sort of niceties about that, or weirdness about that, and things you might want to move around. But
Yeah,
let us know
I think that would
if you
be a
want to
good
hear that
idea.
stuff. Yeah.
Because, well, do we know when or what version
Oh, KC, sorry, Rashab.
oh.
KC, you've just tuned in to hear me say KC. Use Kick It. It is an alias to Kitchen Converge. I have a bunch of them. So KLI is Kitchen Login, because I need that all the time, and then these might be helpful for people using Kitchen on a regular basis. I've used these for about, I don't know, a while, just a few years. So KC is Kitchen Converge, KLI is Kitchen Login. If you want to get into the kitchen box, do that. KV is Kitchen Verify, and I use Docker quite a lot. So, and if you don't know what Docker is, don't worry. It's a different provisioner and host thing. It's a Docker basically.
Okay. And these come out the box, like, or do you
These
have to
do not
set
come
them
out the
up?
box. These are my own
Okay.
aliases,
Okay.
which I've been using for years, absolutely years. Docker is kind of like a new-ish one, so and I'll maybe get this in another stream as well, about some interesting licenses about kitchen. But yes, in another stream because we've got a meeting in about 10 minutes, which is just pinged up on all of my phones everywhere.
Yep, same.
But
Cool.
this is really, really cool. There's some YAML merging. So if you've got your kitchen local YAML and your kitchen.yaml, it can like mash them together and do some nice stuff. I use that a lot on the sous chef cookbooks. It's a really nice little trick there. So yeah, those are really, really handy. I think KT is kitchen test. It's just the whole life cycle as well. Yeah, I use that a lot.
Sweet.
There we go. I think my internet might be having a bit of a paddy. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's fine. Just in time
Cool.
for my internet to die, I finished my demo.
There you go. There you go. It's all about
Um,
timing.
yes,
All
I will beat. I will beat the.
right.
We'll beat the internet.
You
Just
win.
saw some more people pop on. Does anyone have any questions before we jump about compliance phase?
Let me
Any
check
people
Slack.
coming on? Any got any questions about anything at all? In fact, even if it's not compliance phase, you got something about infra clients or inspec, yeah, ask away, and we might be able to help. Maybe. Uh, I say maybe. Probably will. Let me just have a see who's over on the Twitch. Oh, we've got some on YouTube as well, so lovely.
Sweet. Yeah, for sure. If anybody's got any, like Dan said earlier, if anybody has any questions like later on, feel free to just put them in the comment section, and we will follow up for sure.
Let me just report that. Report that random person. He was like, "Yeah, 5 followers. I don't want to be buying followers." Cool. Okay. We'll do a tips and tricks stream at some point because I quite like that. I like the idea of that one at some point. If you have any tips and tricks that you want to share, we'll probably publicize that one. It'll probably be two weeks, maybe 3 weeks, because next week, in fact, we haven't even mentioned this yet, and I'm super excited. So next week, we've got the hackathon announcement on Tuesday, which
Oh yeah.
I will say my favorite person didn't win. That's okay because that's why I have more than one judge.
Yeah.
Um,
But the person that did win is very
it's pretty
interesting.
sweet.
So
Yeah, and
yeah,
then
so I'm excited.
I had like 4 people who were dead close.
Hmm.
I will answer Richard's question in a second. Some interesting stuff there. And then on Thursday, we've got Jason Field and Stephanie Langan from Top Here. Well, Jason's from ECS and Stephanie's from Top Here Technologies. They are here to go talk about CI/CD with Chef Cookbooks, which I am stoked about because
Yeah.
it's it's a topic close to my heart. I've been doing this quite a few years now, and it's nice to see other people using that. So Stephanie is using GitLab, and Jason's using GitHub to do CI/CD cookbooks.
Okay. Okay.
Stephanie is quite primarily for Top Here Technologies, and they're using GitLab internally. And
Hmm.
Jason is doing it from a sort of open source perspective. So how do
Oh
companies do it, and how do open source people do it? And I think there's an
yeah.
interesting kind of a couple of angles there. Quite
Yeah,
nice.
it's a nice little juxtaposition.
Yeah, I mean, I think I broke. We fixed the auto release system last week. Like it's all Kubernetes in the back end. Maybe we'll talk about it at some point. I will probably grill Jason at some point. But there's a bunch of moving pieces, and it's really nice. That auto release system is pretty complicated, but Jesus, does it save us some time? So it's cool.
Yeah.
All right, enough of that. I answered the question from Rochelle. So, if I'm using Vagrant, do I have to Vagrant up or Kitchen Converge? We do. So, Kitchen will take care of the underlying words gone for me. I'm just going to look at the code a second. The underlying provisioner. Provisioner is the word I'm looking for. So the provisioner is the thing that stands up the box and either stands up Docker. So in one case, it'll be the Docker provider if you're introduction with that world, or the Docker provider to stand up Docker machines or Docker containers. Sorry. if you're using Vagrant to stand up any number of other things, so Parallels or VirtualBox or any of the other things, Vagrant is your kind of hub there. So Kitchen will interact with Vagrant on your behalf, which is really, really cool. It will create the Vagrant files for you. I think I can prove this because I'm currently using the Vagrant provider right now. So I'm using kitchen. I'm using the kitchen driver, and then if I open .kitchen, I never go in here, so it's usually. Let's see. So there's a Vagrant file. So Kitchen writes this Vagrant file out. Vagrant has recently moved to Go instead of Ruby for the files. They are staying backwards compatible, thank goodness, which makes me very happy. So if I open this Vagrant file, I'll take the hood. That's not open, maybe I'll just use code instead. So Kitchen is just doing a Vagrant up, Vagrant halt, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Tarsnil, I will have to double check that. I think. Let me just rack my brains a second. But yeah, so this is all written out by Kitchen, which is super cool. It's all handled for you. This is the beauty of Kitchen; it just does that for you. We have a question from Tarsnil. Am I completely butchering your name? If I am, just take the mickey out of me. Does compliance phase fail to dispatch an event that a handler can look at like a converge fail? Yes, it does. I will have to. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but when it reports it, it's just in the report of failure. It's in the reporting phase basically. See if I can find my to prove this. For the kitchen converge again, it will fail. Oh, there's a thread in Slack. Love it. Thank you. Where am I looking? Am I looking in Slack? So I haven't got any handlers, but you could run the handlers there. Chef Infra, thank you very much. Ah, yes. Now I recognise the face. Yes, but I don't. So the answer to Thorsten's question. Ooh, let's not do that. That's just cruel. Let's try this again. So is there a failure? Yes, there is an event dispatch. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Feel free to just post in. So the thread for this question is in Chef Infra Dev. There's a bit more information there. I don't know what it is off the top of my head because I don't ever use that at the moment. I wonder. I'm gonna be nasty here. I'm gonna quickly have a look at the docs. Just quickly look. Yeah. Short answer is I don't know, but I could find out. Reporters. There we are. Lovely. So the reporter section. In fact, I did know this. I read it the other day. I just forgot because, of course, life is too short. It will report to these places. And in fact, let's just prove that right now because I said prove it right now.
Prove it.
Yeah, Dan, what you on about? So I've actually got this cookbook running on Raspberry Pis upstairs. I've got these are running every so often. They're failing. I will figure this out. What is it? Yeah, it's fine. Some collector settings are wrong, but if I go to reports, this is the third, I think it was. This has been reported straight from the compliance phase to the compliance dashboard, which is nice. So yeah, there'll be some other things that you want to do, like go to service now, something like that. I do not know how to do that. However, this is a massive plug for the community Discord. Discord or Slack, probably Slack in this case. Go to Slack, and there's a good conversation in there about that. I'm probably going to say Lamont knows the answer to this, not me yet. Anyway, not this week. Yeah, thank you for the tough questions. I love it. I'm super interested about this. Some waiver stuff I'm working on at the moment as well. So if you'll notice a bunch of these tests are failing. The HTTP test is kind of a bit weird at the minute. I want to block that out. The waivers, I'm just kind of working on that in some internal teams. It's not working how I expected, which is fine. Let's see. Any more questions from the audience? So a quick look.
Let me check Slack. Doesn't see anything in Slack.
Nothing yet. I will give you a minute warning before we'll just chat, and if we have finished if there are no more questions by the end of the time we chat, then we'll just leave. We're done.
Cool.
Yeah. So next week, so we've got a really interesting week planned for next week. So our winners of the hackathon,
yes,
are being announced on Tuesday. Stay tuned for that. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze again.
Ooh. For sure. And ooh, bless you. Times 2.
Yeah, it always go in pairs for me.
And your interview.
We're
gonna interview.
We've got some guests on. Yeah, but got what I would call a fireside chat probably on Thursday. I'm super excited for this chat.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to hear about like CI/CD from those different perspectives and how Chef is able to help facilitate that from an open source perspective and corporate, it's pretty great. Oh, looks like we do have another question for you, Dan.
Jumping right in at the end. Compliance failures, are they reported, handled, or both? So they are reported. Definitely, they're always reported. Failures, so if by failures you mean the report didn't work, that will come out in I'm trying to think. I did have a failure of that. So what I'm thinking is, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm interpreting this wrong, if by failures you mean if the compliance fails, just completely bombs out, what happens then? I believe that's still reported to the compliance dashboard, because I had that happen last week. Actually, I basically broke I didn't load the inputs in correctly, and it was just like, just don't know what to do. So, and if you, let's say you have an input that is required on a compliance profile, and you don't set it, that's a hard failure, and it will fail the profile. Um, that is reported to the dashboard, which is nice. I'm super happy about that because that's the only way I was getting information back out a lot of the time, because sometimes you've got direct access to the boxes. Thank you for the question. That was
Yeah.
good. Prizing all of the weird esoteric knowledge that I've had over the last 2 weeks or so of playing with the compliance mode, really. So 17's been out for a while. I've been playing with the compliance mode from, I mean, actually maybe a month or two. I've been stoked to get this video out. So yeah. Again, so it looks like something people have dropped off the stream now. If there's any more questions, drop them in the YouTube chat. That'll be the best place to get us. If you don't want to get us there, come and jump on the Chef Infra Dev channel, and we'll love to have a chat with you on that. But with that said, we're going to drop there. Thanks very much.
All right. Thanks,
See you soon.
everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.